Welcome. Happy Monday, everyone, to this bonus yoga session, post-storm session. I hope everyone did well in the storm. This is a 50-minute session, 50. And props today, these are optional props. We're going to be doing a balance pose called dancer. So if you need some support, have a chair available to you, and I'll show it with and without a chair. We'll be proceeding into twisted dancer, so you'll want that chair in front of you so that you can grab your lifted foot with either hand. Also, we are going to be doing a kneeling salutation today, so if you need some cushion under your knees, go ahead and grab either a gardening pad or a hand towel that you can fold over, or some other cushion that you can put under your knees if you need it. We are going to get started, my friends, so thank you for joining me. Whether you're joining me live or you're going to watch this later, it will be under the saved videos. Let's start with a hand gesture. Today's hand gesture is called Vajrapadma, and we interlace all the fingers, but leave your thumbs hanging out and bring your hands to your body. Relax the shoulders down, close your eyes, breathe. This hand gesture represents confidence. Think of the Latin root of the word confidence, confidus. It means with faith. So have faith in others, have faith in yourself, believe in yourself. Listen to your body for your yoga practice today. I'll offer some modifications if you need them. Use them. You're in the privacy of your own home, so you do what's right for you. Take one more breath cycle here. And release your hands. Give them a little shake. And we're going to start with a spinal warm-up. So I'm backing up. You can see me head to toe. We will do the first part of our practice standing and then make our way down to the mat. At that point, you can move your device down low if you're using a small device like a tablet or a computer. If you've got it on your TV, then no worries. Make the number 11 with your feet, and we'll start off in mountain pose. So don't lock out your knees. Have a little bit of softness, even though the knees are straight. Have a little softness to the knees. Stack your knees over your heels, hips over your heels, shoulders over your heels, ears over your heels. Everything in alignment. Roll those shoulder blades into your back pockets, palms facing forward. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Breathe. And let's start with an elongation of the spine. Scoop the air up, stretch as high as you can, and release down. Do that again. Inhale, scoop, and release. This time, bend the knees a little bit. Scoop, and release. One more time. Lift as high as you can, and float the arms down. Standing cat and cow is next. Flexion and extension. Bend your knees, bend your hips, round your back, tuck your chin, hug a giant tree, and then inhale, reverse. Bring your shoulder blades together behind your body, and then do that again. Exhale, forward flexion, round back. Inhale, lift the heart, extension. Twice more. Standing cat, standing cow. Exaggerate the motion of the spine. One more time, flexion and extension, and release. Going into lateral flexion, the next two motions of the spine. Lateral flexion, right and left. Separate your feet just a tiny bit so that you're not going to tip over. And we'll do both arms. We'll go both directions here. Hands up above your head. Draw those elbows back slightly so you're not leaning forward. If the arms come forward, we have a tendency to lean the body forward. So draw the elbows back. Keep the spine tall in the frontal plane. And we're just going to start to tilt. Go to your right and your left. Think about the lifting side. Remember, make space in the side that's opening up. One more each side. Come to center and release all the way down. Give those hands a little shake. And we'll go into rotation here. Going into slow motion sprinter. Draw your right arm forward and your left elbow back, and then switch. Engage the abdominal muscles. Protect the back when you do a twisting motion. Strengthening through the core. Go at your own pace here. And let's do one more each arm. And release. Give it a shake. Set your feet even wider. And We're going to go just a few more warm-up poses here. Your toes are still pointing at your device, so your feet are parallel, so don't draw the heels in like this. Keep your feet parallel. Take a peek down at them, make sure they're parallel. And now, as we reach up with one arm, we're going to lift that same heel up as well. And now switch. Bend the knees into it, lengthening the body again with elongation, but this time alternating reach. Let's do one more each arm. And release. Now changing that into across the chest. This will be a deeper twist, so we really want to pick up that heel and move the knee in the direction that you're reaching so that you're not twisting that knee. Begin that motion of reaching across the chest. A little more of a twist for the spine here. Engage the abdominal muscles. One more each arm. And release. And now an upwards lifting motion up to the side. Again, the heel is lifting and the knee is turning. Just warming up the body a little bit for our poses. Last one. And release. Finishing off with a little windmill. My heels ended up in a rotated position there. Adjust. And a little windmill. Push, push. Windmill those arms, working on shoulder mobility. One more each arm. And come back to your mountain pose. Roll those shoulders back a couple times. Remember, range of motion is always up to you. So if anything that I do here seems like too much for your shoulders or hips or knees, modify with a smaller range of motion. It's up to you. We're going to go into chair squat next. So that's a great pose where you can modify your range of motion. You could go very deep or you can keep it very shallow or somewhere in between. Make the number 11, tennis ball distance between your big toes. Remember, we want to draw the navel in when we start to go into our chair squat. Bending the knees, bending the hips, draw the navel in, reach forward, chair squat, rise up. Exhale, sink down, draw the navel in, rise up, inhale. One more time, and this time we hold here, bring your hands behind your body, keep the chin level, and we'll start our prancing motion, working on the strength of the feet. Lift up one heel, put it down, lift up the other heel, put it down. Always have that little spot in between when both heels are touching the ground before we switch. Prancing motion here, working on foot strength, lots of little muscles, 20 muscles in each foot. One more each side. And rise up. Pull the shoulders back, maybe do a little hip sway, circle out those hips. Release the low back. We're going to do one more motion in chair squat here, this time both heels together, if you can. If that's too much of a challenge, go back into the prancing, one heel and then the other, that's your option. Sink down into your chair squat, squeeze that navel, hands behind the body, chin is level. If you can, both heels together, up and down. Rolling onto the balls of the feet. Adding a challenge here, if you can, rise up on the balls of the feet and keep the heels lifted. Rise all the way up to standing and release. Good work, my friends, working out those muscles, those small muscles in the feet. We are going into a salutation next. It's a modification of a sun salutation. We did moon salutation last week, so I thought I'd throw in some more salutations today. I've added on 3 poses into our salutation. I've added a side angle, a triangle, and intense side stretch. So bonus moves in our salutation. Come towards the skinny end of your mat so that you're going to have room to step backwards. Set that tennis ball distance between your big toes. Stand tall, roll your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Engage the abdominal muscles. Bring your hands to heart center. We'll start with stretching up that spine, just like we did in the warm-up. Inhale, elongate. Baby back bend. Come back to heart center. And this time we sweep the arms out to the side. Inhale, stretch it up. Bring your hands down through heart center as you start to fold your body. Bring your hands to your thighs. Bring your hands just below your knees. Keep the legs straight and look slightly forward of your feet. Half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Targeting the stretch in the backs of the legs here. Just easing our way so that we can come all the way down. If you need to, bend your knees and then make your hands come to the floor. Step your left foot back and then drop the heel down away from the screen. So your toes are pointing towards your device. We're going into side angle. This is one of the bonus poses that I've added to our sun salutation. We'll start small. So take that right hand and bring that arm up onto the right thigh and then lift your left arm to the sky. Side angle, Parsvakonasana. Your arm can reach straight up to the sky, or for a deeper stretch on the side body, let the arm come over the ear for that length and the stretch. If it's accessible to you, slide that right hand closer to the floor. If this is too much, then stay up here on your thigh. Remember, range of motion is up to you. We're going to transition to triangle, and I want everyone to start with a smaller version of triangle so we have somewhere to grow if we want to grow. So bring that right arm back up to the thigh, and now straighten both legs. You're reaching down to the inside of the thigh. Don't press on the straight leg here. We don't want to add any injury to that knee joint by pressing on a straight leg. You can stay here, or you can slide that right hand below the knee, making your way down towards the ankle or the floor. You pick. Breathe. One more breath cycle in triangle. Squeeze a beach ball between your inner thighs. And now float that left hand down. Bring both hands to the shin. You can stay here or make your way down to the floor. Intense side stretch. Look down at your right toes. And now look behind you at your left foot. Bow the head. And now set your gaze towards the right. See how that changes the stretch? Even though we didn't move anything in the low body, we just changed our gaze. One more breath cycle. Bend your right knee. Lift your back heel. Rotate the foot. We're stepping back into plank. Lift up through the arms. Don't let your hips sag. Better to be too high than too low. And we transition to down dog. Exhale the hips up. Lift up through the armpits. Press your thigh bones into your legs. Breathe. Bend the knees. Both knees coming almost to the mat. Lift back up. One more time. Bend the knees. Lift up. And now walk forward. Soft knees. Place your hands on your shins. Half forward fold. Make the letter L with your body. Look slightly forward of your toes. Bend the knees. Lift all the way up. Inhale. Let your thumbs touch your mind, your spirit breath, and your body. Shake it out. Feel a little energy from that sun salutation. Let's do the other side. So that you can end up facing your device in side angle and triangle. Let's go to the opposite end of our mat. Set your feet in a number 11, tennis ball distance between your big toes. Gaze off towards the left. Roll your shoulder blades into the back pockets. Hands to heart center. Inhale, lift up, elongate. Baby back bend. Exhale back to heart center. This time sweep the arms out to the side. Inhale, sweep. Exhale, fold down. Let your hands find your thighs. Knees are still straight. If you can, come to your shins. Making the letter L with your body. Half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Pausing here for one breath cycle. Easing into our stretch. And now make your way to the floor if you need to. Soften your knees and then find the floor. Step your right foot back. Drop the heel down so the toes are pointing towards your device. And we're going into side angle, second side. Bring your left arm up to the left thigh and lift your right arm up to the sky. Find your balance. Don't grab the mat with your toes, so don't curl your toes onto the mat. Think about spreading the toes wide, splaying the toes. And again, you can keep that arm straight up in the sky, or Add that deeper stretch down the side body by reaching the arm over the ear. Breathe. If you want to, slide that left hand down towards the ankle or floor. You pick. One more breath cycle. And we're going to transition to triangle, so we want to start small. Bring that left arm back to the thigh, and now straighten both legs. Reaching your fingertips away from each other. You can stay here, or slide down below the knee, maybe to the calf, or the ankle or the floor. Squeeze a beach ball between your inner thighs. Don't grab the mat with your toes. Breathe, push into the balls of the feet and the heels. One more breath cycle. Float that arm down. Place both hands on the shin. Look down at the toes. If you can, bring the hands to the floor. Both legs are still straight. Intense side stretch, Parsvanottanasana. Breathe. Look back at the right foot behind you. And now to deepen the stretch, look towards your left. One more breath cycle. Bend your left knee. Lift your back heel. Rotate that foot. Flatten the hands. We're stepping back into plank. Push into the earth. Spread your fingers wide. Push your heels away from your body. Lift up through the shoulders. Remember, better to have the hips too high than too low. One more breath cycle. And then we exhale the hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. Lift through the armpits. Breathe. Head is close to the arms. Twice we'll bend both knees. Almost touch. Lift. Almost touch. Lift. And now soft knees, walk forward. Hands to your shins. Straighten the knees. Make the letter L with your body. Breathe. And now bend the knees. Rise all the way up. Thumbs touch. Mind, spirit breath, and body. Shake it out. That was your sun salutation on two sides. We'll be doing another salutation later, kneeling on a mat. So it's all about salutations today. And this practice will be called standing and kneeling salutations. All right, let's do a little spinal extension here. We're going into camel pose, and we'll do it 3 times. Standing camel, so this is gentle on the knees since we're standing up. Each time we'll change the hands, and the last time that we do it gives you the most support. So think about going a little deeper. Whenever we do a spinal extension, meaning a back bend, we want to lift up first. Lift the rib cage, and then go into your extension or your back bend. If you don't lift the rib cage first, if you're just here and you're just letting your body sink and you try to back bend, you're going to feel it in your low back, and it's going to be too much pressure. It will not feel good. So always lift up and then bend the back backwards. All right, camel number 1. Make gentle fists with your hands. Don't super clench them, just gentle fists. And place your knuckles at the top of your pelvis. I'm turning so you can see. And now I'm going to face you. Shoulders relaxed. Lift the rib cage. Inhale, look up, go into your back bend. Take 1 breath cycle. And come back to stand tall. Release your hands. Give them a shake. Second position of the hands. Take your thumbs. Place the thumbs at the top of the pelvis and wrap the 4 fingers around the hips. Shoulders relaxed. Inhale, lift the rib cage. Come into your back bend. 1 breath cycle. And come back to stand tall. Release, shake it out. Last time, this will give you the most support. So think about maybe going a little deeper if you're comfortable with that. 4 fingers. We place those pointing down at the top of the pelvis, and we wrap the thumbs. I'm turning so you can see. 4 fingers pointing down, thumbs wrapped around the hips. Shoulders down, rib cage up. Breathe, come into your back bend. Take one breath cycle and release. Shake it out. Go ahead, do a couple little hula hoops. Go the other way. And we're going to finish our standing sequence with our dancer pose, our balance pose. So here's where you have the option to grab a chair. You want it in front of you. So I'm going to put it a little bit to the side so that I can show you without and with. So dancer pose has a lot of variations, a lot of progressions. So your dancer pose might be just hanging out with the foot up in the air and not be worrying about anything else. And maybe you have a hand on your chair. That's okay. We're going to be progressing into variations of dancer pose where we move the arms into different positions. And then finally, we're going to change that regular old dancer where we have the left hand connected to the left foot into twisted dancer where we change. And that's why you want the chair in front of you, because if it's off to the side too far, I'm not going to be able to reach it with the opposite hand. So let's start with our dancer foundation on the right leg. Come into mountain pose, shoulders back, palms forward, align, stacking everything over those heels. Keep your alignment and bring your hands to heart center. So here's the goal. When you come to heart center, don't curl forward like this. Keep that alignment. Bear the weight through the right foot, not grabbing the mat with your toes. Press through the ball of the foot and the heel. Let your left heel become light and float the foot. Bring the knees together. You can stay here, or if you already need support, go ahead and put one hand on your support. You can stay here in just this simple balance pose, or you can connect left hand to left foot. Draw the knees back together. Your right hand can just lay at your chest, or have your hand on your support. You pick. If your hand is not on your support, you can lift it up to the sky, balancing stick. Breathe. One more progression gets us into dancer. Don't think about pulling on the foot. Do not think about that at all. Think about just letting your hand go along for the ride as you use the thigh muscle to lift the knee up. And now that right hand is reaching towards me, and we're holding each other's hands to give each other support through the screen. Breathe. One more breath cycle. Don't let the foot come down to the floor. Just bring the knees back together. And now pass that foot off into your right hand. If you need to, set your left hand on your chairs for support. And once again, coming into dancer, but this time it's twisted dancer. If you can, reach that left hand forward. Hold on to my hand through the screen. Find balance. One more breath cycle. And release. Ooh, shake it out. Feel the energy in that calf muscle from that stationary balance pose, working on core stability. All right, same thing, opposite side. Energize the soles of your feet. And we'll go into twisted dancer, second side. Hands to heart center, but shoulders are still rolled back. Bear the weight on your left foot. Let your right heel become light and float it off the mat. Bring the knees together. If you need support, go ahead and set a hand on your chair in front of you. Or if you want, connect right hand to right foot, letting the left hand just rest on the torso. Breathe. If your hand is resting on your chair, you can keep it there. Or if it's on your torso, lift it up to the sky, balancing stick. Breathe. Don't grab the mat with your toes. Spread the toes wide. Final progression to come into dancer, Nagarajasana. Start to use the thigh muscle to lift the knee. Don't pull. Let your hand be light on the foot. Reach that left hand towards me. Grab through the screen. We're holding on to each other, giving each other balance. One more breath cycle. Lift up, but don't set the foot down. Pass the foot into the left hand. And if you want, set your right hand on your support. Once again, coming into your dancer pose. If you can, send that right hand towards your device. Hold on to my hand. Imagine we're holding hands, giving each other balance. One more breath cycle. Lift up, release the foot down. Oh, pedal out the feet. Do a couple hip circles again, a little hula hoop motion. And you finished your standing portion of your practice today. So make your way down to the mat. I'm just going to move the chair off to the side so it's out of the way. You can move your device down closer to your mat. And we'll have a seated pose. Go ahead, have a seat. Extending your legs forward to start. We're going to go into potted palm. So come into a cross-legged position if that's comfortable to you. If this bothers your knees, you can do potted palm with the arms and leave your legs extended. Sit tall, interlace your hands in front of your chest, and now inhale, lift the arms up to the sky, bring your arms slightly behind your ears. Now if this is an issue for your shoulders, go at your own range of motion. Listen to your body. Maybe your shoulder dictates that you need to be here a little bit lower with your potted palm. That's fine. Think of a palm in a planter, tall. And in fact, the word pelvis is the Latin root for what we call basin, or like a planter. So think about your pelvis being the planter for your potted palm. Breathe, one more breath cycle. If you want, add that last breath cycle with your palms facing up, getting a little wrist stretch, and flip them back down, release down in front of your chest. And now, if you're in a cross-legged pose, change the leg that's in front. And look at your hands, whichever pinky finger's on the bottom, switch it. We're going for non-dominant side. And if you're looking at the screen and you're looking at my knee, look at my left knee, it's much higher up off the ground. I'm sorry, my right knee, much higher up, and I grabbed the hands the wrong way. So come up again into potted palm. Listen to your body for range of motion. Take one more breath cycle, maybe this one with the palms facing up. Palms face down and release all the way down. Extend those legs back out. Shake it out. We go into half Lord of the Fishes here. Draw your right foot in. If you had a big breakfast and you're feeling really full, you don't have to cross over if that bothers your belly. Maybe you've got a very full abdominal cavity right now. You can stay here and do your twist. Or if you're okay, step it across, sit tall, shoulders relaxed, and turn, hug that knee into your body, looking off towards the right. A little gentle stretch here for the outer thigh and hip, half Lord of the Fishes. Breathe. Face front, and we're going to go into Bharadvajas twist. So tuck both feet over to the left side. And now turn to your right again, placing your left hand on your right thigh. And taking your right hand and placing it at your low back. Look towards the right. Bharadvajas twist. Breathe. Our first twist was more for the thigh and hip. And this twist is more for the spine connection to the pelvis. One more breath cycle. Face front, extend your legs forward, and we'll do those two poses on the opposite side. Half Lord of the Fishes and Bharadvajas twist. Draw your left foot in. You can stay here if your abdominal cavity feels really full, or step it across. Sit tall, shoulders relaxed, turn and hug the knee into your body, look off to the left. Breathe, targeting that gentle stretch on the outer thigh and hip. Wiggle your toes. Don't overly flex the feet. One more breath cycle. Face front, and now we tuck both feet over to the right. Knees are bent. Turn towards the left and take your right hand to your left thigh. Pushing into the thigh for a deeper twist. Take your left hand and bring it behind your body. Back of the hand rests at the low back. One more breath cycle. And spiral your body back to face front. We're going to go into our kneeling salutation now. So if you have a little pad that you want to use, this is just a little pad I got at Marshall's. It has some figures on the back in case I forget them, or it has a pretty design. Or you could use a gardening pad, or a hand towel, or even a small cushion. We're going to face off to the right end of our mat. If you're using a pad, tuck it under your knees. And we're going to come into child's pose. So bring your hands to the mat, sink your chest towards your thighs, bow your head. And we're going into our kneeling salutation, and some of the poses will look like the standing version that we did. So let's start with that lifting motion. Hands to your thighs, lift your head, lift your hips, lift your arms, stretch it up, elongation. And now exhale, we fold the body, fold from the hips, let your hands find the mat. And now crawl forward, going into puppy pose. Bow your head between the arms, lift up through the armpits. In yin yoga, this is called melting heart. So melt the heart and keep lifting through the armpits. Breathe. Inhale, shift your chest forward. And now stack your hands underneath your shoulders. So you have a vertical line here. Turn your hands so that when you bend your elbows, they bend backwards. We're going into chaturanga here. Let the toenails rest on the mat. Bend your elbows just an inch. Hold for one breath cycle. Lift up and sink back into child's pose. Breathe. This is your rest between salutations. We're going to do it twice more, and I'm going to add on. The first thing I'm going to add on is a deeper chaturanga, that push-up pose, and I'm going to add a down dog. So go ahead and come into your table pose, and then sink into child's pose with your hands on your thighs. Bow your head, look at your knees, breathe. Next inhale, we start to elongate. Lift your hips, lift your arms, lift your chest, stretch, elongation. Exhale, fold down, let your hands find the mat, crawl forward, bend the hips, let your ears be close to your arms, lift through the armpits, and melt the heart. Puppy pose. Breathe. Inhale, shift forward. Orient your hands, rotating the hands so your elbows bend backwards. And now come into your chaturanga, this time a little deeper. Breathe, one breath cycle. Lift up, and we're stepping into plank. Curl your toes onto the mat. Lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Stretch through those armpits, lifting through the armpits. Breathe, one more breath cycle. Knees down, child's pose. Resting pose. Our third sequence, we're going to add a little deeper chaturanga, if you can, that push-up pose. And when we go into down dog, we're going to do a three-legged dog on both sides. That's our add-on, our final add-on. So take one more breath cycle. Place your hands on your thighs. Squeeze your navel. Inhale, lift your hips. Lift your head, lift your arms. Stretch as high as you can. Exhale, fold from the hips. Engage the navel. Let your hands find the mat. Crawl forward. Let your head drop down between your arms. Lift through the armpits. Melt your heart. Puppy pose. Breathe. Inhale, shift the chest forward. Bring the hands directly under the shoulders. Rotate your hands so your elbows bend backwards. And now come into your deepest chaturanga. Breathe. One breath cycle. Push up. Curl your toes onto the mat. Lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Float your right foot up to the sky, three-legged dog. Bring the right foot down. Send the left foot up to the sky, three-legged dog, second side. Bring the foot down, knees down. Lower the toenails and sink into child's pose. Beautiful work, my friends. Now, chaturanga is a strength pose. Entire body, shoulder girdle, abdominal muscles, hips, everything is contracted, working on your strength there. So hopefully you were able to progress and make it a little more intense each time. Let's do a little stretch now for the shoulders because we did work the shoulder girdle in the chaturanga. And we're going to do a stretch called broken wing. So I've oriented a mat so that I can look towards you. You don't have to change your position, but I just want you to be able to see the front part of my body. Lie on your belly, so you can lie straight down onto your mat. I'm going to lie towards you so you can see the front part of this pose. You're going to make a T with your arms. Extend your arms out to a T. And now let your your left ear rest on the mat. You're looking at your right hand, right? Bring the right hand right next to your nose. Set it on the mat. And now here's the stretch. You're going to be stretching your left shoulder. Roll onto your left hip. Keep your ear resting on the mat. For a deeper stretch, you can take that right foot and plant it on the mat behind you. You're stretching the front of your left shoulder. Come back to your belly, extend both arms back to your T shape, and now take your right ear to the mat. You're looking at your left hand. Bring that left hand into the mat right next to your nose. Roll onto your right hip. You can stay here with the legs stacked, or you can take the left foot and plant it on the mat. One more breath cycle. Come back to your belly. Bring both hands under your shoulders and push back to child's pose. Let's add a hip stretch here for our outer hip area and the low back muscle called the QL by rotating our child's pose. So I'm looking at you right now, but I want you to bow your head. Take both hands over to the right side of your mat and push your hips to the left. Bow your head. You can even let your head rest against your right shoulder. One more breath cycle. And switch. Walk both hands over to the left edge of your mat. Push your hips right. Bow your head. One more breath cycle. Come back to center, and we're going to lie on our backs. So lift up, set your hips down. Any way you want, come down onto your backs. You could do it slowly, working those core muscles. Once you get down all the way to the mat, hug your knees into your body. Add a little sway if that feels good. Breathe. Pause the motion. Set your feet on the mat. Adjust the width of your feet so they're wide as the mat. Your hands can rest alongside your body, or they can come out into a T or a partial T, or even cactus arms above your head for a little stretch through the chest. Going into windshield wipers. Rock both knees to one side and then the other. The knees go together. You're rocking on the inside and outside edges of the feet. A gentle stretch for the outer thighs here. Come back to center. And we're going to go into half windshield wiper. Walk the feet together. Pick up your right foot and cross the right leg over the left, crossing the thighs. And now half windshield wipers. You're dropping the knees away from your device and then back to vertical. So we're only going in one direction. And we're rocking on the inside edge of the left foot. Having that leg wrapped around the opposite leg acts as a little puller to deepen the stretch. Let's do one more. And leave the knees lowered. Variation of open belly twist. Let's turn it into traditional open belly twist by uncrossing the thighs and stacking the knees and feet. Open belly twist. Keep both shoulders connected to the mat. You don't need to look at your screen now. You can look straight up at the ceiling. I'm going to add an optional hip stretch here. That left leg that's on top, float the knee towards your chest. As if you're going to try to hug it. And in fact, if you want, take your right hand and reach down and pull that knee a little closer. And we're targeting a deeper stretch on that left hip. One more breath cycle. And release. Bring both knees back to center. Adjust your low back. And we're going to go into half windshield wipers on the other side. Pick up your left leg and cross it on top of your right thigh. And now start dropping the knees towards your device and back to vertical. Rolling on the hips, rolling on the inside edge of the right foot. Do one more, and we'll hold the knees down towards the left. Variation of open belly twist. Adding a little deeper stretch for the IT band with the legs wrapped around each other. Let's turn it into traditional open belly twist by uncrossing the thighs and stacking the knees and feet. Keep both shoulders connected to the earth. Don't look at the screen anymore. Look up at the ceiling. Relax the throat. Relax the neck. I'm going to add the progression for the hip stretch if you want. Float that right knee up towards your chest, keeping it bent, like you're going to try to hug it. And if you want, you can reach down, grab that leg with your left arm, pull it deeper towards your chest, and we're targeting the stretch on the right hip. One more breath cycle. Restack the knees. Come back to center. Hug both knees into your chest. Add a little sway if that feels good. Pause the motion. And we're going to add a hamstring stretch here. So extend both legs up to the sky for candlestick. Reach behind your thighs. And now when you reach behind your thighs, your shoulders lifted up, right? So let them fall back down. Once your hands are connected, shoulders fall down. And now pull the legs towards your body, maybe just a few inches. That's okay. Are you feeling the stretch? That's all that matters. Sure, you can get your legs closer to your body if you bend your knees, right? Oh yeah, look at that. I can get my legs really close to my chest. But the stretch went away. That's not the purpose of this pose. The purpose of this pose is the stretch. So keep the knees straight. And it's okay if your legs are further from your body. Breathe. Release your hands. Bring the legs back to vertical, straight up from the hips. And we're going to go into a little core strength here. Palms flat. Press the upper arms into the mat, giving you stability through the upper body. And now push the legs away just a few inches and come back to vertical. Keep the legs straight. Do that again. Push away and up. Push away, maybe a little deeper. And up. One more time. Push away, maybe a little deeper. And up. Hug. Roll if you like. A little sway. We're going to do one more strength move for the core. Come back to candlestick, straight up from the hips. This time we're going to push away and now circle the legs around. When you come back to the starting point, go the opposite direction. Pause and reverse again. Reverse again. Do two more circles, one going in a counterclockwise and one a clockwise direction. And then hug the knees again. I said one more, right? I lied. I got one more for you. Just one more, because we've got time. We've got 6 minutes left. Go ahead and extend your legs up to the sky, candlestick. We're going to put those two motions together, but instead of the legs being glued together, we're going to separate the legs, and it'll be like a mirror image of each other. So push the legs away, and now right leg circles out to the right, left leg circles out to the left. We come back up to candlestick. Push the legs away, mirror image circle back to candlestick. Do that twice more. Push, circle. Last one. Push and circle. We go the other way and then we'll be done. Circle and draw up to candlestick. Circle, draw up to candlestick. Twice more. Circle and lift. Circle and lift. Hug the knees. Add a little sway. Good work, my friends. Just a little bit of core strength there at the end. We're going to finish with our thigh stretches. That's how we started this little sequence. We did a stretch for the outer thighs with windshield wipers. We stretched the backs of the thighs with candlestick. Now let's stretch the inner thighs. Plant the feet. Walk the insides of the feet together and allow the knees to open to the side. Let your soles of the feet come to touch. Let your shoulders relax. Hands could be on the belly or on the inner thighs or on the mat. You pick. Just opening up those inner thigh and groin muscles. Look up at the ceiling. You don't need to look at the screen here. Nothing's changing. Static pose. You'll feel a little lifting through the low back. That's the natural curve of your low back. Take one more breath cycle. Place your hands on the outsides of your thighs and close. Hug your knees. A little sway. And we'll go into happy baby to release the low back to finish our stretches. Separate the knees and feet wide. Flex the feet. Let the soles of the feet look up at the ceiling. And now connect to either your shins, your ankles, your big toes, or the soles of your feet. Draw those bent knees towards your armpits, and then let the shoulders relax. Add a sway if you like. Breathe. Imagine your hips are sinking towards the mat. Let the stretch deepen just by setting your mind to that sinking feeling, sinking to the mat. One more breath cycle. Pause the motion. Return the arms to the mat one at a time. Bring your feet to the mat. And we're going to go into a few breath cycles of relaxation. So if you want, let your knees rest against each other, keeping them bent, or you can straighten the legs out for corpse pose. You could come to a sideline pose, or you could come to a seated pose, or child's pose. Anything that makes you comfortable and relaxed. Close your eyes. Remember how we started our practice. We started with the hand gesture that represented the word confidence, confidus, with faith. Have faith in your body. Maybe you tried something new today. Maybe there was something in our practice that you had not done before. Maybe that was a challenge, maybe not. Maybe you enjoyed it. Whatever it is, have faith that you did it to the best of your abilities. Relax your face, your brow, your cheeks, your throat, your tongue. Everything sinking into your relaxing position. One more breath cycle here. And we are going to transition to a seated pose. So you can roll to your side and push into your mat and come back to a seated pose. Or you could do a sit-up if you want one more strength pose. It's up to you. Always up to you. You're in control. My quote today is from a very, very wise person talking to his friend. It's Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh. And it's about confidence. So have confidence, my friends, because remember what Christopher Robin told Winnie the Pooh. He said, promise me you'll always remember you're braver than you believe, You're stronger than you seem, and you're smarter than you think. You are all those things, my friends. Bring your hands outside your hips. Inhale to the sky. Let your thumbs touch your mind, your spirit breath, and your body. The spirit in me honors the spirit in all of you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful Monday. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.